Hello, welcome to this channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Janet. I'm working through the King James's Bible. I'm in the book of Judges today and we are working through chapters 11, 12 and 13. So if you want to find out what these chapters are all about, then stay tuned because here we go. So we left off yesterday with the Israelites going into their usual demise of going into evil, worshipping these fake gods, and they're just in this dark place again. And as we open chapter 11, we start with a man named Jephthah, and he's a mighty man, it says. He was the son of a prostitute, and his father was named Gilead. Now Gilead's wife bore sons, and those sons began to resent Jephthah. They didn't want him to inherit any of their father's inheritance because they said he was from another woman. And so they drove Jephthah out of their household, and he fled and he went to a place called Tob. And he got together with other men who had also sort of found themselves lost and abandoned, and they all started sort of grouping together and raiding. And then after a while, a war began to emerge between the Ammonites and the Israelites. And his brothers that had chased him out of their household suddenly appeared on the scene. And to his surprise, they wanted his help. They wanted him to lead them through this war. And he says to them, "Look, you didn't want me before when I lived with you. Why now? Why come at me now?" And they were saying, "Because we need you. You are the strong one. We want you to lead us." So he says, "Okay, I'll lead you as long as when this war is over, I become the leader of Gilead." And they all agree, yes, that's what he will be. So he takes on this new leader position. And on his first day, he decides to negotiate with the king of Ammon. And he sends him a letter saying, "Why do you want to fight the Israelites? What's this all about?" And the king comes back to him and says, "Because the Israelites stole our land. They came in, they took it over, and we want it back." So Jephthah was trying to negotiate with them. So he writes a long letter on the history of how this all came to be, why the Israelites are here, coming from Egypt and then working with God. And it was God that led them there and that won these battles. So they were victorious and they had a right to be there. He's saying that basically your God is not as powerful as our God, and so we are rightfully in this place. Well, this falls on deaf ears with the king of Ammon, and so they rage a war. And the Spirit of God comes upon Jephthah as he goes towards this battle. Now, as they are having victory over the Ammonites slowly, Jephthah decides to make a rash vow. He wants to make a vow to make sure, he thinks, to win the war. He's worried still. He's having those doubts that maybe, the Lord might not unless he gives him something. So he says, "Okay, I make a vow with you, the Lord, so that you will deliver us from our enemies." And the vow is that when he wins the battle, as soon as he comes home, whatever greets him at the door will be offered as a burnt offering. So on he goes with the war, and they win. They win the battle over the Ammonites, and they are victorious, and peace reigns for the Israelites once more. So he comes home all victorious, and who greets him at the door? But his daughter, his only daughter, and he is so distraught because he can't go against his vow. That's what he says, I can't go against. And he tells his daughter what his vow was, and she agrees to be a burnt offering to the Lord, but she asks her father, "Can I have 2 months of grace, and then I'll come back and thy will be done?" And so he does. He allows her to go off for 2 months, and when she returns, he fulfills the vow. And this chapter ends with a custom being made now by the Israelites where they go every year and for 4 days they mourn the loss of Jephthah's daughter. So on that sad chapter we move into chapter 11. And we start this chapter with the Ephraim tribe crossing over to see Japheth in his land, and they are angry. They want to know why they were not asked to partake in this war, and they say they're going to burn down Japheth's house. And Japheth tells them, look, I did come to ask you at the time to come to war, and you didn't answer that call, so I took it into my own hands and I waged war with the Lord on my side. Well, this just angers the Ephraim tribe even more, so they end up at war within their own camps now. The Israelites are fighting each other, and the Gilead tribe win the battle over the Ephraim tribe. And sadly, because of this disagreement, 42,000 of the Ephraim tribe are killed. And then we hear that Japheth rules over Israel for another 6 years, and then he dies, and he is buried in Gilead. After him comes another judge by the name of Ibzan of Bethlehem, and he has 30 sons. He gave away 30 of his daughters in marriage, and he welcomes in 30 daughters from his sons marrying. So he's got a big family. And he rules over the Israelites for 7 years, and then he dies, and he's buried in Bethlehem. The next judge to take their place is Elon, and he's from Zebulun, the Zebulun tribe. He rules over them for 10 years, and then he dies, and he's buried in Zebulun. The next judge is Abdon, and he is a Parathonite who judged Israel for 8 years. He had 40 sons, 30 grandsons who rode donkeys, it says, which was a sign of wealth. And he died, and he was buried in Parithion, in the land of the Ephraim tribe. And that closes chapter 12. So we've just covered quite a lot of judges that have taken a stand, ruled over, and you can see they've come from different tribes. So God is picking different areas to, raise them up, to get them to stay in this place of connection with him. So now we move into the final chapter today, which is chapter 13. And this is the birth of a special son. So we start again with the Israelites have gone in slowly after these judges back into their old ways of evil and worshipping other gods, and they then become oppressed by the Philistines, and this goes on for 40 years. And during this time, a man from Zorah, the family of the Dinites, his name was Manoah, and his wife couldn't have any children. She was barren. And the angel of the Lord appears to her and tells her that she is going to have a son. And he's to be a special child because he is going to lead the Israelites out from under their enemies of the Philistines. Now she's told that she's not to drink any wine while she is pregnant. She is not allowed to eat anything unclean, and she is not to shave his head, because he is going to be this holy child, and they class it as the son is going to be a Nazarite of God, meaning holy. Now she tells her husband what's happened. I've just seen this angel of the Lord. He came to me, told me I'm going to have a son, and that I'm not able to drink any wine, I'm not able to eat anything unclean before he is born, as he's going to be somebody who is going to lead us out from under the Philistines. Now Manoah at this point asks God to send the angel again, because he wants to know, how are we meant to raise this boy? How should we raise him to be this leader? And then shortly after that, the angel of the Lord appears again to his wife, and she runs to him, tells him he's here, the man who I spoke to last time. So Manoah goes towards this man, this angel, and he speaks to him and says, you the man that spoke to my wife and told her that she's going to have a son? And he said, yes. And he tells him exactly what he told his wife. So he goes to get a goat and get him as a burnt offering. And as he's doing this, he asks about the angel. He says, what's your name? And he's burning it. And just as he says this really offends the angel, and he goes into the flames of this burnt offering and just goes up towards heaven. And this scares Manoah because he thinks, oh, he's going to kill us, because of what he said, that he's offended him. But his wife reassures him that that's not the case. Why on earth would he have come down, told them all of this, and then killed them? So this calms him down. And then after that, his wife gives birth to this child, a boy, and she names him Samson. And it says that God blessed this child, and the Spirit of the Lord moved him in certain times and in certain places. And so this is where our chapter 13 ends. So we've covered a lot in those 3 chapters, and a lot to think about in your own life, how these judges kind of show us things in the world, in how we operate. There's Jephthah. He starts off, he's rejected by his family. He goes into this dark place for a while, but then they need him. And when they need him, he becomes this great leader. And he's one who really wants to negotiate. He doesn't really want to have war. He's trying to be fair. He's trying to, come to some kind of balance. But it didn't work with the Ammonites. They wanted to fight. They wanted what they thought was theirs, the land, and that was all they could see. The sad thing was for him is making that rash vow. He didn't trust in God to deliver, and so he felt he had to make this vow. So there's that balance as well in when we commune with God. We've got to think about what our words. When we make a vow, it's very important. It's something not to be taken lightly. We have to take it very seriously. And then we've seen God bringing up different judges in various areas of the Israelite tribes, so they all have their opportunity, to bring forth this transformation in the Israelite community. And yes, they do rise up and they do change for a while, but they keep falling. So is there going to be this special judge that is really going to deliver them out from under their constant cycle of going down? Could this be Samson? We will find out and continue soon with more chapters within the book of Judges. So thank you for being here. I'll be back again with more chapters in the book of Judges. Take care for now. Bye.